Gilg J as Gilg Nerach.
Showed you Claare na Gael, as we William she was Aldiger. This is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert the Carslach.
Haven't heard tell of our Bobby Bob.
Here once again to present another edition of Claare na Gael, a programme that comes to you in two languages, one of which is this, the English language, a Szganee, Sean, Hild and Fair earlier, and it's that one, the Manx Gaelic, which is the other one, Chinian Amera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and Jurish. One of the sensations of the age was a case concerning a highly unpleasant visitor to the island, George Barker James Cooper. The Cooper trial began against him in a court of general jail delivery on the 14th of November 1892, closing on the 21st of November. Tashinjin er a junta ons Liorlei Mina Harker. Tanolu van Helsing as Mina Harker en Edinburgh fasti on de Royal Kemmerk van Sneachte as wijn de modi older. Gout as Skrail mach van Mullach Craig, dat vagen poddan de Szganee as een like de vaganok, de Gimmerke en Kistje ont en Count Dracula. De dris aglach oru. You were 1,000 times more beautiful than the white rose. Well, I suppose you knew that already, but we start with a song in Welsh by Tidr Morgan. Tasiw geestiach rish radio banning, stasiwn yr asiwn, visgol yr sgelia mach, wai dwlish, alyn vanning.
Naar allerg balgen of your sin, mapen mwy swyn o liw dy chwerthin na chan y frwm raith yn y llwyn na myrmyr môr o ben y tŵn fy mapen bach mwy na'r oenigwyn na'r blodau tlws ar ochrau'r bryn na dawnsio heilwen ar llun fy maben bach Mil gwell gen i na gair y byd I'w gweld y wenau yn dy gryd Fy ffortiwn wyt a gwyn fy myd Fy maben bach Fy maben bach
Mil hardach uit, 1,000 times more beautiful are you than the white rose and the red, or the swan on the lake. Tidr Morgan with his version of the traditional Welsh song. George Barker James Cooper was the son of the senior partner in a firm of merchants in Manchester. In September of 1892, George Cooper and his wife were holidaying in Douglas. An article in the Mona's Herald gives an interesting glimpse of court proceedings at that time. The man Cooper, upon whom the eyes of all the Isle of Man and many in England are now fixed, was conveyed from the insular prison, Douglas, to the police station. The chief jailer, Mr. William Fell, and Warder Garrett were in charge. On the arrival of the wagonette at the police station, one of the bystanders remarking to a representative of the Herald, At first I thought it was a country wedding, as both the horses were white. We learned that Cooper will remain at the lock-up until the end of the trial. At 11 o'clock, all the members of the Court of General Jail Delivery took their seats on the bench. And it says that the president of the court at that time was the Lieutenant Governor. Renne fargach, as high ons Claare vuchit, tad sairige son a lai grenia, fuddy de bimmage ro anmach, aignia ye der audient. Nus henk dorrenelje den jachte immenich va cordolshin, as was sledden reert na chira dollage mach. Ach haya shad alia, as riech van a gledden egge jirit a stra. Esh, henk aimed altagium, Jeech, wel u vagen, ta de varkia kabel gair toru de bew, as utsen chit noos vain jas. She Quincy as John had genaurus. Gau na glessen, Jeech roos me wisse snach de dolle maag ulju. Gau me had, as jeech me. For die de berge de rauwe de wunje en fairly sewerd as meisje Morris. Ta visse meg a goed slew, na rauw verder be jou Jonathan. Eg a treich hedden, va vis na rauw Jonathan for de Ursul. As misjien me geert, honnik me chow huie fodden, va chit de wunje elje, as utsen markiach eg viewed dinne wist en gauw. Visitors to Incruniach a few years ago were the Scottish and Irish band Lass, with whom recent visitor for Incrúis, Joy Dunlop, sang and danced. On that occasion, though, Lass's regular piano player couldn't make it, so Joy Dunlop's brother Andrew played with them. Well, here are Joy and Andrew Dunlop from their own album, which was called Geese.
If I'd a dogs the train alone, she can like voyach would good grimace what in hune, nan jerke nan buljagan, good grimace what in hune, nan jerke nan buljagan, good kilugerai nan snjachgeban, kuridars na good kilugerai nan snjachgeban, kuridars na good ima var rein kauf, nöd chydich awak nan tunakami, good ima var rein kauf, nöd chydich awak nan tunakami, snurranik mi Saun famo guvas juice and Jane kracht blauw heen. A schillig year staat er aan. O reen en dood kommer om och heel. Harra mi rev sig under sjö. Reen en dood kommer om och heel. Harra mi rev sig under sjö. Fire dag styr regn malan. Steg för vran så volat mig.
The voice of Joy Dunlop, accompanied on piano by her brother Andrew, on that song, A Warage Og. Va Fairja was enna mer mar Jonathan, as van mi sheen de Rowan Fairelja, de Dugesach, and Charn Godalming. Vods en jes gairt a fodden leis a churt. Tre dinchby den allu, ren a gillach maak leis tatjens gurish gilja skal, as looked at Jean the gear, der a ren cow snach that you know now possible de hagen, hug a rifle Winchester egger na lai erlu, son imid naiklach woer, jorish dorlish a fasti ein. Tad ulju chitrach elia dorte, tret en tret chit be gypsy en ein de chulju jou. Gauw mi maag me gun lau, de wei erlu, son gouds was in lord, Henk guller nie na modi alde, de wei na surge, as na snedda. Tre renne sterm jagige rishalid, jichchen riech. Squech wei de hagen na snjaagde tujem ons vlogen getroom vagestun, as chou hold jou, seilje na grenie, seilje na skilje, gouds rennie sinkeel schieskus muljen na sledgens en audit. The Mona's Herald records that in 1892 the members of the court were, namely, the Lieutenant Governor, President, Clerks of the Rolls, Deemster Drinkwater and Deemster Gill. The counsel for the prosecution were Mr. James S. Gael, High Bailiff of Castletown, in the absence of Sir James Gael, his father, the Attorney General for the Isle of Man, and Mr. J. M. Cruikshank, Ramsay. Prisoners' counsel were Mr. Thomas Neen and Mr. J. A. Ring. Mr. G. H. Brooks, confidential manager of I. J. and G. Cooper, sat in the well of the court. Cooper was brought into court at 11. Deemster Drinkwater, after the court had been fenced in the usual way by Mr. Philip Tier, coroner of Glenfaber, the Premier Sheeding, addressing the prisoner, said that under the indictment, he, George Barker James Cooper, was charged that he, on the 3rd of September 1892, feloniously and with malice aforethought, did kill and murder his wife Edith Annie Cooper in a room in the Regent Hotel. A rather strange abrupt ending there from the Breton band Skolvan, who take their name from Aguers, the Breton lament of that name, Skolvan, but there with some Breton dance music for us. Siodiw stasiwn yn asiwn radio fanning, as sé Claare na Gael wisgol Szganee mach cartnish, mish Robert Catine Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Did the ever hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
For this you clash and Claare na Gael jint more podcast vis getting nasty in the radio vanning heen, na vain reich the podcast Joe, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. De Claare na Gael rechlaschen rishacht en luchtje guller Szganee en Geert through den radio vanning as Raigi agert, as to enema Claare gedden Sarola and Shen. Then, asking the prisoner what he had to say to the charge, Cooper replied in a firm, clear voice, "I am not guilty." In the part of the report from the Mona's Herald, we've heard that the court was fenced and by the coroner of Glenfaber, so this is the same as happens before the annual open-air Tynwald ceremony these days. And so we'll turn now to the prosecution's case. On the 2nd of September, the prisoner and his wife crossed to the Isle of Man. It didn't appear that anything very material occurred on the voyage, except that a charge was made by the prisoner that his wife was addicted to intemperate habits. On inquiry into the assertion, it was found that all the liquor supplied on board were 2 half-glasses of brandy. Mr. Cruikshank then closely followed up the proceedings of Mr. and Mrs. Cooper until their retiring to bed. It hadn't been definitely stated what the condition of Cooper was. Miss Yeaman, and she was the housekeeper at the Regent Hotel, Miss Yeaman had said she thought Cooper somewhat under the influence of drink. As mis Jean Olju Magit the moon lesh na gledden, dod mi fagen on shaws and shen, cronnen va glaciacha, fair, as ons pyren, as ons truren, as ons podden and smoo, van a maudi olde chit koojachs on a chragok. Va dag shalid gennachten gurish trail jouwer gouds was in forrachten. Henke rien is ons reden en kraai, as van snjachte immenich les elges, gouds we skebe orren, gouds we golmugiet ons kaddigen. Na keerten gedodgen vagen, gouds as lure de rai ein roin. Ach, keerten elje, gouds renne hier, les shien muchit skebe shine, we jeen de renne skebe machen me giertemoen, de vodgen vagen voor de wine. Erg was in geholig rish vreel aris on irina grenia as en laigrenia, der au fissain girach de loer tre harach shen, as we fissain roche vader, de ginnach en green goldelai. Now this is Greg Jochen's song In Search of Manannan, sung by Greg with the trio Barul.
Baby in his cot and leave your bread and beer. Leave your warm and tender touch and all that you hold dear. Hey ho, leave your home, it's time to go and leave the baby in his cot. Leave your bread and beer. And take me to the mountain through the mist and failing light. Take a staff and lantern with us deep into the night. Hey ho, take the road and let's now go and take me to the mountain and the mist and fading light. Seeking down the deepest well and out across the moor. Seeking where the savage cliff touches to the shore. Hey ho, seeking high against the wall, out across the moor. We came at length upon the rue, where carved into the slate appeared a mighty fortress that was sealed with golden gates. Hey ho, can you let me know, is the master home? We came upon a fortress sealed with golden gates. Across the fury fills the air, a blinding flash of light, and as the gate begins to move, a giant voice calls in the night, who is it that broke my sleep, and who that has no fear, and who that dares to lead the way before? Manan and MacLean.
Greg Jochen singing his song In Search of Manannán with the trio Barul. Sdoli ve de chrel rerne oerder yn ein, de rawi na slúna oer vashin furchten sa fast die Cregach shen, rosh meren de cochle en shejach, goiltaert chitrachelia fagesdun. Henke gienish, la skeben strimmer, smoesharu, a smoesjigger vain tui. Ve gien de rawe nimmen na basel en snach die woin. No na rawe ons fraden, esjes nish, de renner snach de tusjem. Dat sin skrael de bachtel na vier lie ons dag podden. Odsen va gull eirt as odsen va geirt. Squech de loer ve, de rawe gien de rauf is oxen va gull eirt na skumme ve dou, de rawe gull eirt Ach, ve gien de rawet seirige eg buet doebel, gaus renne grien tusjem de cinchler, muljen de slegen. Na snether, as na snether henkad. On the following morning, Cooper got up and went to the front door, and, while there, sat with Mr. Weldon, the manager of the hotel. Then, between 9:30 and 10, he told one of the servants his wife had a bad faint. The servant replied she was sorry, and Cooper followed up her remark by saying, "I couldn't help it." Such a remark appeared rather meaningless. At 10 o'clock he, Cooper, went out to pay for some photographs painted by Mr. Bradshaw. He proceeded with Mr. Bradshaw to Dumble's Bank, and, after doing business there, asked him to go to the Regent with him. Arrived there, Mr. Cooper went upstairs, and Mr. Bradshaw, having waited quarter of an hour, returned home. Evidence was given by the chambermaids Polly O'Brien and Jane Cowan, the latter of whom heard the deceased woman say, "George, please shut the door." Miss O'Brien, on hearing a slight scream, went along the landing. Now Brenda Wootton sings a song in Cornish by Richard Gendel about the white swallow, a wennol win, going south for the winter, and here she's accompanied by the guitar of Richard Gendel himself.
festa mar bella and gwe frey veir haino amrin thus an abals bian agoth man le mesudran an privas epedi o toma dani thawen olwyn in skiber our by interester alin golaf merastawi gosman gwelaf sira fithionis delova Evleni och mia vid skos dis when olwyn abarthi min kinjaf var korti fjunlam och när sanis de antal avia mesum tuala fingo intan mia vedo in varanas vana fadio in nun la da 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 dum how do you do lagas how do you he blew here mes na intriga nabith moi del grisa.
Richard Gendel's song in Cornish, A When All Win, sung by Brenda Wootton, with Richard's guitar accompaniment. Looking through the keyhole of bedroom number 16, occupied by Mr. and Mrs. Cooper, she, the chambermaid Polly O'Brien, saw prisoner wiping his wife's face with a towel. Mrs. Cooper was lying on the floor, and, as far as Miss O'Brien could see, Mrs. Cooper was naked. The door was locked. Prisoner said the reason for his locking the door was because his wife was naked, but he didn't cover her when other people entered the room later. He'd found time to change himself, yet had no time to cover his wife's naked body, which was lying on the floor. Well, we turn now from the Mona's Herald to a newspaper article issued by the United Press Association. The accused was a partner in the firm of I.J. and G. Cooper of Manchester, and about 3 years ago he married a barmaid, also named Cooper. They lived, unhappily, together, both being apparently addicted to intemperate habits. They arrived at the Regent Hotel, Douglas, where they'd stayed before, by steamer from Liverpool. Ren an olw as mish crom a shees chawchulu Jane Chregain, as chumshin the wappen an ein urlu. Dod be fagen der rawi sledden cherit na jinnach at cause na sha. Cach as ulju va gin fisser bid rau shingen kion fenish. De doltajum dilly dech ore oru, shastji, va ferjau eg a Jonathan M. Erna urgica on shean de yinage. A fair elia, shean, ledger, shigga de wansje raccoon, eg mansje Morris. Fuddy na rau fis eg de gypsy en erg Claare, a gerau ouders mechion a shean, als Claare be a Claare van a vogelen gulle grey. Mar kiel gen tort ren a tarn en a strienen, as onshallid ren an charn godalming as Jonathan, sairach as jach oro unchau, as an fairly seward as mansje Morris a chow elia. Fully jailach de gypsien, dunje va gian stoma as van a high a chabel gurish centaur, cray oro de golback, as ons corre elgesach, huggeana enjach den a comregen ege de gol rumboe. More dance music, this time from Irish band Cool Finn, who were dancing in Allihies latterly on that track.
The Nation Station, Manx Radio.
Stasiwn yn asiwn to Radio Fanning as yn sio sé Claare na Gael to a clashen, as sé mishta de Chebel, Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you ever had tell of old Bobby Bob?
Ren het Custon a Cavel, ren Limmer ern en Diacht. Ach, ren de Cair Dania, Troggelsoes na Rifle en Winchester ook, as onsacht na Dot Marinus we Gintje, Hugad Sarah Dow de Stappel. Eg a treich edin ren an fairly van Helsing as mish, iri vai chow chulu Jane Chregail, as renshin jierachen a wappen an ein oru. As utsen fagen de rauwe ern in grunniche, ren na Dania chonnen a strienenok, as hugad stap oru. Hien dea li jailach dow, as hugge Anna, as esen, ren daag dunje je potten na gypsien, tarn mach creer be a wappen ve gimmerke, skin na gun lau, as we kummele heen earlu de haige air. Was strew gul air on shallage, renneli jailach les glaciage tavia strien, kjou a gavel maag se tjou wielu, as look de schienemaag meer haig der a green, nis schies vagus de muljen na krink, as esch gus a gastjel, greire der acht na dod me tiggle. Mrs. Cooper was sober, but appeared ill, and had suffered from seasickness. She had 2 black eyes. She at once went to bed. The housekeeper, this'll be Mrs. Yeaman, asked Cooper what he'd been doing to his wife, and he replied that he'd been giving her a good horsewhipping the night before. The housekeeper said she was disgusted with him, and asked why he didn't leave his wife. He replied, "No, I won't do that. I'll pay the little devil out another way." In the morning, Cooper and his wife had a bottle of champagne while in bed. Soon afterwards they were heard quarrelling, and the maid heard a slight scream and a fall. She told the proprietor, who with the head porter went up and demanded admittance, the door being locked. Cooper opened, and on entering, Mrs. Cooper was seen lying on the floor, naked and quite dead. Her nightdress, saturated with blood, was found in the room. A wash-hand basin was nearly full of blood, and beside it was a knife. Now this is a song in Welsh, Fy Nghan I Ti, My Song for You, sung by Linda Griffiths with the duo Briggan.
Y brain a rwy'n a blodau mi'n y ffyrdd. Mi ganaf fy nghan I ti, bydd yn hafan ac yn gysgod rhag y gres. Carnos weithiau braf a isan bor o haf, daw y gan a ni yn nes. Daw y gan yn y dŵr a'r tân fe wnaed y gan. Dwi'n ei chanu hi ti yn y dŵr a'r tân fe wnaed y gan. Dwi'n ei chanu hi ti yn ei chanu hi ti.
The Welsh duo Briggan, brothers Enir and Eirig Roberts from Eryri, and they were joined by Linda Griffiths on a song by Alun Sparden Hughes, Fy Nghân Ti. This article of the United Press Association goes into further detail here regarding the state of Mrs. Cooper. The body, it says, was covered with bruises, some recent and some of long standing. Death had been caused by a stab in the breast, penetrating the left lung and pulmonary artery. During the inquest it was elicited that Cooper had been divorced from his first wife, whom he'd been attempting to shoot, but had been acquitted. It was also proved that his brother had once given him a good thrashing for his cruel treatment of the deceased. After the case of the prosecution was over, Cooper, to the surprise of everyone, admitted that he had killed his wife, but said it was not done intentionally. They'd had a row, and she struck him. In a rage he hit back, forgetting that he had an open knife in his hand, and it penetrated her breast, killing her instantly. At first he thought she'd only fainted, and he poured water over her, afterwards removing the wet nightdress. Mor fregert ren ulion y ceir denius a fodden ein, cawed hi'n vain a cabelok, as renad raig as a chert. Vaiden nenach den al atchimach, fagen Jonathan ons lid a gauw, be der au Gina de ga orm gen aures, chammes na firelia jou. Ha geni mi al be, weggach mien kai frenach de jinnoredrach. As fagen gleisach tavin a sheshach den ein, hugli jailach de gypsy Sarah. Renne deniega, krunjige magiek de gert en sors de gin smacht, en derre je boele lesje gielen, a saie jaelius a Gina degge de ve baielacht en Sarah. So ven je shaw, dot mi fagen der ou Jonathan runchau jen chargel de genia, as Quincy a chauelia, sai rumboe trut njart ges a gert. Scrunnel ve de rauwe fau corcion nove, rosh ma jinnach en green goldalai. Ve jean rau weg cor staparu, na ear cumbrelad. This is a tune which is shared between Scotland and Ireland, and there are words in both Scottish and Irish Gaelic, but it's become probably best known in association with the words written by Hugh Roberton. Now, Hugh Roberton is best known for his work with the Glasgow Orpheus Choir. This is the song Westering Home.
Westering home and the song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter, oh love and a welcoming there, Isle of my heart, my own one. Tell me, O lands on the Orient gay, speak of the riches and joys of Cathay, hey, but it's grand to be waking out day, to find oneself nearer to Isle, and it's westering home and the song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter, oh love and a welcoming there, Isle of my heart, my own one. Westering home and the song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter, oh love and a welcoming there, Isle of my heart, my own one. the folk of the West, canty and couthy and kindly at best. There I would hie me and there I would rest, at hame wi' my ain folk in Isle. And it's westering home and the song in the air, light in the eye and it's goodbye to care, laughter, love and a welcoming there. Isle o' my heart, my own one. Isle o' my heart, my own one.
An early presenter of BBC's White Heather Club, that was Robert Wilson, and he was singing Westering Home. Fe Gian na ra wappin and trogich, na skin and filet-sack na gypsy and chowchulu jow, na gullerni na maudi all the chowchulu jow, ear tarnin Gael dow. Va cion leisure as Jonathan, as an acht bachtel na rau a chun gereilegge, Gian de cho rauwer yindes orusen chowchulu jay. Gintort renad kroitchel aliadi, as liggede gol sha. Well, the jar who Higgin Arns Jerry J. Dracula and Achirt. On the 21st of November 1892, George Barker James Cooper was found guilty of manslaughter rather than murder. Many people were aggrieved that the court handed him what was felt to be a lenient sentence of 10 years' imprisonment. The Cooper trial in the Court of General Jail Delivery in Douglas was heard from the 14th to the 21st of November 1892. We close Claare and Gael with music from a Breton band. They're called Zong, and the tune is called Boulat Boulat. Stand by for 2 hours of the best chill-out music for your Sunday evening from 7 till 9 o'clock in the company of Chris Pearson. At 9 we welcome Judith Lay in her programme Sundown. Achnesh, Szganee by Claare and Gael. As we saw, until the next time, this is Robert Cutting Carslow, Robert a Carslach,
Old Bobby Bob,
wishing you a very good night. Eve I'm a Crieru as Orserlier, as my Yerian shared you will you.